Juliet asks Romeo for help practicing for the three-legged race so that she could win MVP and become more popular. It turns out that this was just a ploy by Juliet, as she wanted to help Romeo overcome his defeat at the previous sports festival. To help pump his motivation, Juliet suggests that whoever wins the MVP must follow the orders from the winner. Determined more than ever, Romeo enters the 100-meter race despite his blunder at the last sports festival. During the much-awaited sports festival, everyone was so competitive that the Black Dogs and the White Cats scored equal points despite the blatant cheating from both sides. In one of the games, Somali injures Juliet on Abby's orders, which becomes bitter after Juliet's rejection. Juliet also tripped during her race with Hasuki due to the injuries she sustained from Somali. The audience sneers at Juliet as she is forced to retire from the games due to her injuries. Romeo is furious about what happened with Juliet, but he is especially angry at himself that he couldn't help or be there for Juliet. His fury intensifies when he learns from Char that Abby has been gunning at Juliet so she could become the leader of the White Cats. Romeo could not keep his cool when he discovered Abby's plans, and he is determined to tear her down in the final event, the human cavalry battle. Most Black Dogs were already taken out, as Abby drugged them before the event. Left with no choice, Romeo asks for Maru's help during the cavalry battle, who initially refuses but reconsiders when he sees Julio in the stands. Romeo and Maru manage to eliminate all White Cats except Abby and Somali. Despite the cowardly and underhanded tricks Abby and Somali used, Romeo and Maru manage to defeat them. Just before the referee declares them winners, Romeo calls out Juliet. In the spirit of competition, Romeo challenges Juliet, or else he could never claim to have beaten all the White Cats. Juliet was happy seeing that for the first time, Romeo truly sees her as equal and takes her seriously. In the final match of the cavalry battle, Romeo faces Juliet in a battle between leaders of the Black Dogs and the White Cats. Romeo rushes to grab Juliet's ribbon when he accidentally grabs her breast instead. Shocked from what happened, Romeo suffers a nosebleed and faints. With Romeo out for the count, the White Cats are declared the game's victors, and Juliet was awarded the winning MVP. Because of his reckless mistake, Romeo was forced to step down as leader of the Black Dogs and was replaced by Hasuki, the second in command. Due to his rather bizarre behavior and how the sports festival ended, the student council has decided to keep an eye on Romeo. Feeling depressed over losing his position as leader of the Black Dogs and unable to see Juliet, Romeo came down with a fever from the stress of it all. After hearing of his sickness, Juliet has decided to check in on him by disguising himself as Julio when he runs into Maru, who begins asking awkward questions. She manages to run away from Maru and his rather aggressive interrogation. Still, instead of finding her way to Romeo, she stumbles into the female baths, where she is mistaken for a pervert. She eventually managed to find Romeo's room when Eigo Koitsuji, one of the Black Dogs' delinquents, along with Maru, suddenly enters the room looking for the porn magazine he left in Romeo's room. Juliet is forced to hide naked under the sheets with Romeo till Eigo leaves. Romeo wakes up with Juliet at his side, who admits that she snuck in because she missed him just as much as he missed her. With the Harvest Festival fast approaching, the twin Black Dog, Prefects Kocho and Teria, prepare for a bustling day. Romeo calls Juliet and invites her to the festival, who agrees but refuses to disguise as Julio, just in case she runs into Maru again. Kocho and Teria, who were tasked with watching Romeo, faintly overheard him when he was talking to Juliet. They decided to check his room when they found Juliet's rosary and his belongings and had several questions about it. On the day of the festival, the two meet while trying to hide from the twins. Romeo manages to see the twins restraining a couple of violent students. He approaches them and challenges the twins at the festival games. It turns out that Romeo realized that the twins wanted to go to the festival but did not have friends to go with. He even went on to say that they can re-challenge him whenever they want, much to their enthusiasm. Romeo hurries back to Juliet but is a tad bit late for the fireworks. Juliet reassures Romeo that it was okay as she is happy to have seen Romeo's kindness when he was playing with the twins. Grateful for the time Romeo spent with the twins, they wonder if Romeo would like to join them as a prefect. It was later revealed that one of the high-ranking members of the student council is Romeo's brother, Eiru Inizuka. Juliet's birthday is just around the corner when she asks Char for a favor while Romeo plans on buying Juliet a special present, so he tricks the twins into permitting him to go shopping for the day. On his way to the mall, Romeo bumps into Char when suddenly a police officer approaches them and warns Char that radicals from Towa are nearby and that she should return to the school before it becomes a fight. Char convinces Romeo to become the bodyguard while she handles Juliet's favor. Meanwhile, Eru overhears the twins talking about Juliet's rosary, who becomes suspicious of Romeo's odd behavior over the last few days. Char and Romeo later run into the radicals, who start a fight with Char. The radicals assume that Romeo would help them since he is a fellow Toan, but they were shocked to find him fighting with Char instead. Romeo realizes that Juliet would be sad if anything happened to Char, her childhood friend. Char admits to being jealous as she was working on Juliet's favor, which turns out to be helping her spend her birthday with Romeo. Juliet mentions that she wants matching accessories for her present. Char is still unable to move on from Juliet and is disillusioned with the idea that Juliet and Romeo are destined to break up. She broods on what to do when it happens, so she goes torturing Scott to cheer herself up. Romeo returns to the dorms and finds Hasuki, the twins, and his brother waiting for him. Iru confronts Romeo about the rosary and threatens him that if he is ever caught in contact with a white cat girl, he will use his connections to expel him from the academy and disinherit him from the family. Iru has been strict with Romeo growing up. When their father passed away, Iru was forced to become the head of the Inuzuku family. He has single-handedly raised Romeo to the best of his ability. Serious about his threats, he oversees everything about Romeo for the next 7 days. Seeing it as a weakness, Iru has forced Romeo to take up kendo training again, where he beats him callously. After seeing Romeo's battered state, Hasuki confronts Romeo, who reveals that he has been intentionally lowering his guard so that he could call in sick and sneak out to see Juliet on her birthday. Once, Romeo tried to sneak out, but was immediately caught by Iru, who knocked him out and locked him in the shed. It turns out that Romeo has already considered that this would happen, so he has already convinced the twins in advance to open the shed once he has already left. Romeo rushes to Juliet's side when he suddenly collapses from his injuries. Juliet manages to make it in time and caught Romeo before he collapsed. She breaks down in tears and comforts Romeo while apologizing for everything that has happened because of her. Every year, Romeo had this inappropriate tradition of crashing Juliet's birthday and throwing a cream pie in her face. The white cats are on guard this time and lie waiting for Romeo. Juliet has decided to steer clear of Romeo so he won't have to be hurt again. Romeo feels dejected after noticing that Juliet has been avoiding him since then. Juliet confides with Char, who shares everything that happened and how she cannot bring herself to be near Romeo, even if she wants to. Char feels sad after talking to Juliet that she decides to help her by giving Romeo the cookies Juliet has finally perfected in baking. After eating Juliet's cookies, Romeo felt inspired again as he could feel the effort Juliet had put into baking them. Determined to see Juliet, Romeo has decided to continue his tradition. Suddenly, Romeo and the Black Dogs invade the party and throw pies. Romeo plans on using this chaos to sneak into the White Cats and find Juliet when he is caught red-handed by Somalia and Abby. Luckily, he managed to escape with the help of Kate Sith, the head prefect of the White Cats dormitory. He is quite the opposite of Iru's serious nature, where he is more laid back and relaxed. He decided to help Romeo because he likes him for making school life fun and interesting. He also added that Juliet is waiting for him in the 4th floor storeroom. When on Cyber, the White Cat student council secretary walks in on them. He pretends to be distant from Romeo and orders her to stop Romeo. Juliet got bored from waiting and decided to escape by climbing out of the 4th floor window. On his way to Juliet, Romeo notices that Juliet is by the balcony, so he jumps out of the window, where she catches him. Romeo finally meets with Juliet and wishes her a happy birthday, where she responds by admitting that she loves him. Iru arrives at the scene only to see him and Juliet pie each other in the face and declares that their fight ends in a draw. Iru calls out Romeo and confronts him about his evidence and accuses them of being lovers. To throw Iru off, Juliet quickly responds by accusing Romeo of making a fool of herself and challenging him to a duel with real swords. They realized they needed to wound each other to stay together and make it more convincing. The two make a convincing act where it ends with stabbing each other in the chest. It was later revealed that they just stabbed each other on the rosaries they wore. Now that they managed to convince the entire school that they are enemies with their superb acting skills, they have decided to be more discreet with each other. To replace the rosaries they destroyed during the act, Romeo gives Juliet matching rings, while declaring that before he can change the world, he must first change the school by becoming a prefect for the student council. With the festivities over and the school returns to normal, Iru allows Romeo to join the student council as the errand boy despite his suspicions. He believes it would be easier to monitor Romeo if he was a part of the student council. The series ends with a promise between Romeo and Juliet that one day, when they have gathered enough courage and have nothing to fear, they will call each other by their first names. For more anime recaps like this, subscribe and hit the bell icon. As always, like and comment to help out our channel. Thanks for watching.